QUARK TANK.
Welcome, one and all. I'm going to quickly introduce our quarks. Now, quark number one, she is not a Klingon, but she is Rihanna's sister, the other half of the Duro Sisters podcast of she, her pronouns, Ashlyn. Ashlyn, the quark, welcome back to the quiz.
Kapla, hello. It's great to be here.
My very own brother from another mother, the man who has appeared on this podcast almost as many times as me, with he, him pronouns, it is Sam Johnson. Sam, hey buddy, welcome back.
Glad to be here.
And our final quark once did all kinds of unsavory things to score an interview with Will Wheaton on his podcast from Deep Space Pride, and he, him pronouns, it is Mike Thurlow.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here.
And from Strange New Pod, she, her pronouns, it is Grand Nagus Giraffe.
I bring all the Latinum to the yard.
Amazing. So this could get out of control really quickly, but how this is going to work is prior to the recording, our three Bevs were asked to prepare a Shark Tank style pitch for a Beverly Crusher themed spin-off series. Now, each one is going to get a turn to do their pitch to our quarks and the Grand Nagus. Our three quarks will be able to award 3 strips of Latinum, 2 strips of Latinum, and 1 strip of Latinum each. And then after that, the Grand Nagus is going to come in and has 10 bars of gold pressed Latinum that she has to invest in any way she sees fit across our 3 Bev spurts. She may be a little bit drunk with power, or just drunk, who knows, but...
How does he know that?
I'm going to let the Grand Nagus decide who goes first.
Let's go with Adrian. I love a cosplayer.
Pitch number 1.
Thank you.
Those listening to the audio version, go to YouTube. That's all I can say.
Picture it. Miami, 1985. I'm going to have to take the glasses off because I have to read now. But you're going to pretend that I had sunglasses on. Yes, you saw the sunglasses. Picture this. It's Miami in the summer of 1985, and recently single and in the prime of her life, Southern drama queen Blanche Devereaux, Deanna Troy, is looking for roommates to help pay the rent on her gorgeous home. Enter new to town and feeling out of place, Laris, no last name Romulan, meets Deanna, and the two hit it off instantly in the supermarket. Laris is lovable, but strange and definitely not from this neck of the woods. And last to round out the group is the headliner of the show, the no-nonsense gal with the acerbic wit, Dorothy Beverly Crusher, who brings a sense of stability and refinement to the house that is, of course, when she isn't wrangling her eccentric and sexually bold mother, Loxana Troy. No, she's not Deanna's mother. She's Beverly's. You're misremembering. Or when she's not getting herself into trouble with candles or a certain hunky Scottish ex with a Canadian accent, Ronan. Throughout the series, our roommates try to navigate what it means to be a woman, romance, family, grief, and most of all, sisterhood, as they're thrown for all sorts of loops and into shenanigans, such as when Deanna's ex, Will Riker, shows up to try and win her back, or their crotchety neighbor, Kermit the Frog, wants to cut down a historic tree, or the day that Beverly and Laris find themselves in the pickle to outpickle all pickles when they find out they've been sleeping with the same man and decide to have a little fun at his expense. I present for your approval, Quark Tank, Space Sisters. It's just the Golden Girls, y'all, but make it space.
All right. Okay, that was a very strong start. I was not expecting Beverly Golden Girls. That was fabulous, but I'm gonna give our quarks a bit of an opportunity here just to really interrogate how much you've thought this out.
So I have two questions. The first question would be, are we presenting a 30-minute comedy, or is this an hour-long comedy drama setup that we're looking at?
It's really
Good
a really
question.
excellent question. So it's actually a 45-minute comedy drama, a dramedy, if you will. So the vibe that we're really going for is, if you've seen Ted Lasso or you're familiar with the show, it's a comedy. You cry a lot.
Okay, I can buy into that. What kind of sponsorship? So are we looking at, is this going to be on streaming? Are we looking on terrestrial TV? And what kind of ad spaces are we looking to sell during this, or product placements during the show as well?
Yeah, this is an excellent question. So the first sponsors that we're going to have, because it is, of course, set in 1985, is the classic Cola Wars. So we're going to have a Pepsi, we're going to have a Coca-Cola. They're going to be drinking it all the time because product placement. And it's going to be streaming both on Hulu, right? But also on holodecks around the galaxy.
I'd like to go a little further down the line. Let's say the show gets picked up for a couple of years and it's running, then it gets canceled. So we have to reboot it. How would you incorporate a hotel into this formula?
That's a really excellent question. Okay, so I've thought about this. So clearly, if we have to reboot it and bring in the hotel element, of all our characters, Beverly, Deanna, Loxana, and Laris, one of them is a clear standout in terms of like keeping house, even though she's not only that, y'all. She's a badass ex-Romulan spy. So Laris is going to open a bed and breakfast. I know you said hotel, but hear me out. Bed and breakfast in Labar, and they're going to use the chateau after the aforementioned pickle to, out pickle all pickles. One of the ways they have fun at Picard's expense is they do both get him to give them the chateau in his will jointly. So they have joint custody of that. So that's then the bed and breakfast. They open it up to their friends that they've met in Miami, their friends that they've met on Caldos, the people that they've probably stolen Romulan ale from that's on the Ilios.
I have just a question about Kermit.
Sure.
We're talking CGI, animatronic, actor in a suit, and like if an actor, which actor?
Okay, I'll show you what Kermit we're talking about.
Oh dear.
Space Barbie's walking.
Wow.
Yes, Space Barbie is walking.
Very specific Kermit.
Okay.
This Kermit that I was gifted in 1985 and put lipstick on.
Fantastic.
And then it's very difficult to see. So he is he's literally a 6-inch tall lipstick wearing Kermit. No actor. So we're literally, this is Kermit, and he doesn't have strings. He's not really puppeted. He just sort of like sits on people's shoulders.
The parrot Kermit, yeah.
Kind of a parrot Kermit. He is, in fact, though, voiced by Lady Gaga.
Pitch number 2.
Now that's a tough act to follow, my friend. So
I can tell you, I'm going in a completely different direction. So I mean, we could have both those in a perfect world.
Take it away.
So, I played this one a little more straight, as they say, let's trying to continue on post Star Trek Picard season 3. So the year is 2403. With the fallout of the Borg and Changeling incursion leaving Starfleet decimated, Starfleet feels the need to expand as now. Rear Admiral Crusher and Fleet Admiral Janeway lead a fleet of ships towards the Delta Quadrant to establish a new Federation starbase and new Federation colonies to create new sources of resources and to identify new Federation members. Among this fleet of ships is the Enterprise G, which will also run its own show concurrently and be woven in and out of Starfleet Delta Quadrant and Star Trek Delta Quadrant and Star Trek Legacy.
Can you give me a Barclay cameo?
Oh, definitely. I would not put him on Janeway's ship, though. He'd try to drive her nuts. But I would see him probably being on the Starfleet Academy ship, where we're continuing, where we have a ship that's going to, train new cadets as we go, because we are going to be far away from Starfleet. So we kind of have to be a little bit more mobile, a la maybe Battlestar Galactica's fleet, kind of taking a whole, mobile civilization.
Sure. I'm just wondering because we saw Bev at the end of season 3. She's like got a new rank of admiral. She seems like she's really involved in everything going on at Starfleet. So, what would she be doing on a ship? Like, is she CMO? Like, I feel like she's kind of above all of this. And with like Janeway already there, what's her role?
Well, given that like we're taking the whole Federation kind of beyond the parameters of the Federation, you kind of have to bring a Federation government with you, or a Starfleet government per se. So literally, Admirals Janeway and Crusher are the heads of this fleet, and they are the decision makers, so to speak. So it is a big responsibility, because they're basically looking at taking the Federation and expanding it in a new quadrant. So it is a big deal.
So have you already discussed this with Gates and Kate as far as sharing what I assume would be the title
Yes.
nameplate with them both on there? Because I don't foresee either one of them giving up that space. So what's your plan for that?
I envision like Cagney and Lacey type billing. It's going to be 2 strong female leads of equal. And one of my biggest things is I've always wanted to see Crusher and Janeway together on screen doing something very smart. So why not build a show around them of equal footing?
Can you remind me the date? The show?
I put it like 2403. I believe we finished up Picard like 2402, I think was the year so I think about a year later, we'd had like this, there was this decision, like Federation Council got together, and a year, and Janeway and Crusher are picked, and and then so about a year later, this Armada's kind of taken off toward the Delta Quadrant, and that, like I said, that Armada's going to include like construction ships and colony ships and an education type Starfleet Academy type ship, so that we can bring those resources with us.
So basically, it's Battlestar Galactica, but make it Star Trek, kind of.
I mean, in the sense that it's and I even use it a little bit there in the pitch. I mean, it's a little bit like that, but I don't think we're lost, and we're not necessarily at war with people and fleeing, but it is about going to a specific area and trying to create, to expand the Federation in a positive way. And it's very important.
We love BSG. Like, it's not a...
Oh, yeah, but in a perfect world, President Roslin would just come with these 2 women, and it'd be Charlie's Angels, but.
And one last question. So this is Voyager and TNG legacy character. Would you envision having legacy characters? I know you want new characters. I respect that. I love that. But for example, from Prodigy, because that is branching to the story of this crew guy also.
Yeah. That's a really great way to, because in the grand scheme of things, Prodigy is 15, 20 years right now before what we're talking about. So yes, those kids would be nice and grown up and serving now. So I'd love to see, like Rock Talk or somebody be part of the crew.
Pitch number 3.
So it's called Star Trek Reparations. And so Beverly Crusher has been hanging out as an admiral. It's around 2402 or 2403. But we're going to open the show a little differently. It's going to start with the opening of a ship, and it's revealed that it's the Lion de Grance. And on the captain is revealed to be an Uhura, the aged up Celia Rose Gooding. Okay? And they have received a distress call or a concern from Arvada 3. And that concern was coming from Dr. Paul Howard. And if you know your Beverly, you know where this is going. They head to Arvada 3. When they get there, they realize that where the signal was coming from, where the message was coming from, that area has been destroyed. And they're searching for survivors. The whole kind of complex where they were living is destroyed. And in the rubble, Uhura finds a 3-year-old girl with red hair. And that girl is eventually the Dr. Beverly Crusher. So it's that connection, that legacy. But the show itself, it'll open with Beverly Crusher. She's Admiral, head of Starfleet Medical, and she's really trying to get to the bottom of what was going on at the Daystrom Institute and what was going on with the changelings and what were they doing. And we're going to all these different planets. It'll have flashbacks to some of her time on the Elios and how she was helping other forgotten planets that were mentioned in that one sentence in Star Trek Picard. And as they go along, she's going to get a ship. We'll call it the Elios 2, just because I love that name for her. It's that Greek goddess of healing and compassion. I think that would be her ship. She'd be the captain of that ship. And you'd have people on there. You'd have a mixture, IDIC, young and old, all different people, but the main crew would be a mixture. There'd probably be a few people that are kind of miffed at her for what happened with the Borg, and she would address that head on. She would have a whole talk about what Starfleet is, who Starfleet is, that, there are shades of gray. And if you're angry with me, okay, we can work through this. But we're a team and we lead with compassion. And then it leads us to this planet. And eventually, at the very end of this 10-episode series, because it'll be like a limited series event, you'll see that there's a connection back to Arvada 3. And Beverly's going to go back to Arvada 3 and solve the mystery of Arvada 3, who killed her parents, and how that tragedy that Picard briefly mentions in Arsenal of Freedom really went down. I'd like to see Orla Brady be a part of this somehow. Maybe they go to Chaltok 4, and maybe that's how we get an answer to what's going on. And I would like to see other people pop in, like from Legacy, like Jack. I'd like to see 7 of 9, maybe a flashback to her as a ranger working with Beverly Crusher, because she says she knows her. So maybe we see her as a ranger in a flashback, or we could have the Enterprise G come in at some point in the last 2 episodes. So really, it's a focus on Beverly Crusher and a focus of how the Starfleet's going to investigate some of the things that have gone wrong within its mantra, within its elements, and again, Star Trek reparations. There it is.
I guess my biggest question is, if it is called Star Trek reparations, yes, we have Beverly going in and we see everything that she's doing, but actual reparations, I feel like, also involves the government or Starfleet, the Federation. And so I'm wondering, are we going to have any scenes of just what's happening in Starfleet internally, or is it just Bev POV? What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's going to be Bev POV, but I think she's going to be reporting back to let's say Admiral Janeway makes a cameo. Obviously, I'm going to tie her to Picard. So maybe Picard is active. He's the one that's actively working with the Federation on making reparations. Because to Picard, the Romulans were a big hole in his heart, the way that all went down. So her going to Chaltok 4 and meeting with Laris is very pivotal. And that will involve Picard, and that'll involve how, and I think through it all, Picard is very tied to all these things. He knew about Arvada 3. So I think Picard would kind of be championing her from that end, from the Federation end. And it's maybe a finite amount of time that she's going to go and travel to these, because she does want to stay and do mentorship and run Starfleet Medical. So she's not aiming to get back out into space permanently, but Jack has left. Jack is on the Enterprise G, and she's feeling a little bit of an itch to, make things right.
So I love Federation politics, but I'm a weirdo. How would you make the show more accessible to audience that has not watched Star Trek or is a beginner in Star Trek? And how would you make it also light sometime? Because it is it's very heavy topic, right?
Yeah, this is pretty heavy. And I think I'll address the lightness first. So I think with Beverly, she could, again, use her dancing skills. The officers find out that she loves theater and dancing. So maybe they put together a production and they rope her into it. Or, there could be some levity there. I think there will be a 10 forward. I don't want to be stuck in 10 forward, but there's room for some, camaraderie there. I also think that it depends on the rapport with her crew. Because a lot of the humor comes from their growth with each other. So I think as she builds those relationships, or as she runs into old friends, I think the episode with Orla Brady, I had a pitch that I didn't pitch, where Picard, Beverly, and Laris go throughout the galaxy looking for his old girlfriends to make sure there's no more Borg babies. So, you know, like I feel like that's the humorous pitch. I feel like Orla Brady and Gates McFadden would have some great, like they could have a lot of humor at Picard's expense in that episode. In terms of making it accessible to non-Star Trek fans, I think that that'll be taken care of in the first episode with Beverly talking about who Starfleet is and what their mission is. And it'll kind of be mapped out as they go through, like, these are the issues that we had, and this is, and each episode will focus on it, maybe a particular thing. So, you know, these standalone kind of stories or topics, but with the overhanging issue of, okay, the Federation maybe needs to do better here, so we're gonna work on that.
In or out?
I am going to start with Quark Sam. Sam, how are you going to invest your Latinum?
This is a hard one because all three are well thought out and detailed. I'm gonna give one strip of Latinum to Starfleet Delta, just because I feel like that one, it's a strong one, but it's too close to what we're probably gonna get. Michelle, you're gonna get my two strips of Latinum because I like where that went. I like how that followed up, but I have to say that not only does Space Sisters get my 3 points, I went above and beyond, and I'm not only going to pitch in that, I'm also going to pitch in this title card. So,
Okay, I just want to say really quickly, first of all, thank you, Sam. But I started to do this. I had this exact shot on Canva, but I ran out of time. I was going to do that. So thank you.
Wow, we're ready to go with this one. Let's roll it out as soon as the strike's over.
All right, let's go with Quark Ashlyn. How would you like to award your strips of Latinum?
All right. Well, my one strip of Latinum is going to go to Christos. I really loved your pitch, but I just thought it wasn't quite as detailed as the other two. But I would love to see it. That's like what I want in a show, especially Janeway and Beverly. Like, you can't go wrong. Adrian, I'm going to give you 2 strips of Latinum because I haven't seen as much as the Golden Girls as I think other people here, but absolutely incredible pitch. I also like how light it is and how much fun we would have. Amazing pitch, fantastic, very, very detailed and thought out. And then Michelle, you are getting my 3 strips of Latinum because I don't know, the like how deeply you thought through all of it was very impressive to me. And like I said, you kept answering all my questions. I'm ready to watch your show. And I also think it's kind of the answer to Picard is just like Beverly's show in a limited series. I think would be very cool.
Now, Mike, how are you how are you going to award your strips of Latinum?
Wow, this was a really well done pitch group, I have to say. All of you did excellent. I am gonna award Christos with 1 bar of Latinum. I agree with Ashlyn on just the development of the thinking out, and I think Christos, your plan is more in pre-production than some of these other shows. But I also think that it's a great wagon train to the stars. I love that we'll have to see Deep Space Nine, which I'm hoping we can get some amazing guest stars for in that. So I am, and I think going back to the Delta Quadrant with Kate and Gates sounds like a good use of both of them. So so this is where it gets tough. I almost want to split a bar of Latinum in half because both Adrian and Michelle had incredible pitches. I think based upon the palette of all the Star Trek shows that we currently have, both now and in semi-development in real world, I think that Adrian, I feel like yours is different enough And in fact, I sort of like the pitch even better than the Starfleet Academy pitch right now. So I'm going to award you 3 bars of Latinum. And Michelle, I love your Gates-centered series, and I think it would make an amazing companion to Star Trek Picard. So I'm going to give you 2 bars of Latinum.
There we go. There we go. So that is so. I imagine that this is how Christos is feeling towards all of you right now.
I'm not talking to you.
But they were all. I agree with all your sentiments. Those I did not know what I was going to get when I threw this gauntlet down, and all 3 of you invested really solidly in the time to bring us some very entertaining pictures that I think we would all love to see, respectively. But before we can say which show is actually going to get put into production, Grand Nagus, you have 10 bars of gold press latinum to distribute amongst or to invest in these pictures. So how are you going to invest?
I'm gonna start with Michelle. You got me with the Uhura opening. You knew the Quark Tank.
I did. I didn't know that I would be pitching this to you when I started this. So.
I was ready for you to stumble on dates. They were all perfect when you said like Leo the Grant. So I was like, oh, you better have Uhura, and yes, you did. Yeah, I really liked it. I do think that we've done a lot of show center around one character lately, so I do want to see new things, and I'm a weirdo. So I'm gonna give you. Wait, I have to redo my math. Sorry. Yes.
I'm waiting on pins and needles, Raph. It's fine. No.
Yell at me after. So I'm gonna give you 2 bars of Latinum for Star Trek preparation.
All right, thank you.
And then Christos, I actually really loved your pitch. I don't know what's wrong with all these people around us. I thought it was super good. I want to see Jane. You put Janeway in anything, I'm gonna be happy about it. Exploration, and you had me at the Prodigy Kids. I was like, absolutely. I want to see them growing up. I want to see, cool makeup and VFX. I want to go to Strange New Worlds. I want to see what's up in the Delta Quadrant. So I'm gonna give you 3 bars of Latinum.
Well done.
And how many I have? Oh, I have 5 now. And Space Barbie. It's more of a dare because I want to see new things on TV, to be honest. I want to see a Star Trek show that is not in space. I am ready for, absolutely out of the box thinking. So I'm gonna give you 4 points and a bonus point for all the cosplay and like the flair. So 5 points for you. I did the math right?
Yes.
Good. I'm throwing the dice. I told you I was gonna create chaos. I don't know how many points anybody has, by the way.
Which show is getting picked up for series?
So, Christos' pitch had 6 points total. Michelle's pitch had 9, and Adrian's pitch had 13. So, therefore, Adrian's pitch will be making it.
There we go. Adrian's going to be on Paramount Plus. I think, Michelle, you can probably swing something on Hulu, and we'll make a web series on YouTube for Christos, is what I'm hearing.
I want to watch Adrian's series, so let's do it.
I just want to see Kermit.
I want to watch
I just want to
of
see that
these.
Kermit action
All
with
of them
Lady
are
Gaga voice,
Yes.
let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. Quark Sam, Quark Ashlyn, Quark Mike, and Grand Nagus Giraffe. Thank you so much for coming on this little experimental segment of the Bevsperts quiz. We will see you again next time. I think we could see this segment return in the future.
QUARK TANK.